know this because I didn't, but there is an accordion museum in North Canaan, Connecticut. It's in the railroad station right in the center of town. My guest is Paul Ramuni, the owner of the New England Accordion Connection and Museum Company. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I just wanted to say who knew, but now we do.
Now you know.
All right, how did your love for accordions come about?
It's my mother's fault. When I was about 11 years old, living out on Long Island, my mother came to me one day and she said, "You know, we're Italian, so we want you to learn how to play an accordion." And I said to Mom, "Anything but that, Mom. Please don't do this to me." Because there was this guy named Elvis that was moving everybody to the guitar and changing the whole landscape with music. However, I did it for my mother and played till I went off to college. And that was, I thought, the end of it.
But you have many of them behind you. You started a museum. Why?
Why? Well, 42 years after what I just told you, my wife and I were in Vermont. Long story short, I had the urge for some reason at that point to find an accordion. And I did after one phone call. And what happened that day, it wasn't the accordion so much, it was the backstory. It was what the accordions were used for and what they did for people. They've been around for 200 years. And they've been in places that are unthinkable. That day, I found a gentleman that had a number of concertinas that came from the concentration camps in Dachau. And that story affected me. And I just started looking around for more accordions and the backstories. And I found them, as you can see. So we now have about 650 of them in our collection, and we sell them and service them. We give lessons. It's a good way to spend a retirement. That
story you told me about, how did that gentleman, did he acquire an accordion? What happened in the concentration camp?
Well, the way those things worked, when people got lined up to go in those places, they had their stuff with them in a sack on their shoulder. The guards were always looking for any kind of musical instrument. The guards wanted music. Things were very boring for them. And if it looked bulky, they'd pull you out of line. And if you had an instrument, any kind, they made you play it. If you played it, they put you in a different place. And the rest of the folks went to where we know they all ended up. And that's how it went. And a lot of folks were saved, their lives were saved when they went into those places if they had an accordion or an instrument that they could play.
What an incredible story, Paul. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, as you follow the accordions, what's its future?
The future, well, it's very interesting. It hit its peak 1900 to 1960, I would say. Millions were made. And as I said, we went to the guitars and the rock bands at that point. And now, since the year 2000, it's slowly been coming back, but it never really left places like Europe. China has a lot of accordions. They're making them and playing them. They're big along the border with our country, Mexican, South America, they go crazy for them. There's pockets in this country where the accordion is still played and enjoyed.
Well, I appreciate you stacking them all together so that people can go to an accordion museum in the state of Connecticut, and we thank you.
You're more than welcome. We're in North Canaan, in the railroad station. You can't miss us.
All right, Paul, see you around.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
And for more on the New England Accordion Connection and Museum Company, go to WTNH.com or the News 8 app.